Hey, it's Marita with another episode of Book Bites, and today I am going to talk about this book. It is a gem that I happened to see on display in the library as I was picking up some books that I had on hold. And Unlocking Greatness. The subtitle is "The Unexpected Journey from the Life You Have to the Life You Want." The author's name is covered, and it is Charlie Harary. And this is what I do with my clients. I take them from where they are to where they want to be. And that's why this title just grabbed my attention. As you can see, I have lots of nuggets here, and I'm only on page 166, and I just decided this is the book I want in my library. That's a lot of times I use the library as a way to vet a book. So I check it out on purpose. This one wasn't on purpose, but if I really like it, or if I find myself renewing it like a gazillion times, that's kind of a hint that I really do find that it has value to be in my collection. Um, I love the way he talks about neuroplasticity and how your brain can change. He has some great exercises in here because this is all about creating a life that you want. And, a lot of us, we just pine over what we want and we don't do a damn thing to get there. We dismiss taking action that actually can help. And it's just crazy for me as a transformational coach to see it. One of his exercises was literally to write your own eulogy, as if you were writing your own eulogy. Like, what did you do that someone who was remembering you at your funeral or your life celebration of life, what would they be saying about you? That was really crazy. That was really that's one of the reasons why it's marked for me, so that I can actually um go back and be contemplative and reflect on that. The other exercise that he's got in here, if you remember 9/11 and the Twin Towers coming down, he uses that example. I get chills just mentioning it. Um, a real life story that I won't get into, but even if Lisa, I can't remember her name, one of the widows from the guy that spearheaded we're not going to take down the Pentagon, we're going to go down into the field. It's called Let's Roll. Maybe I'll review that book for you too. But the exercise that they talk about is that he talks about is, okay, it's the Twin Towers exercise. And he talks about, you've got one phone call to make. The plane is going down and you've got one phone call to make. Who are you going to call? And what are you going to say? So this book is really, really really valuable if you're wanting to improve your life, or if you feel that your life completely sucks and what's the point. Well, just begin. This is where I stopped and realized I really do want this, because he talks about be, do, have. Be, do. Who do you be? What do you do, and what do you have? And a lot of us live it backwards. And he really, God, where was that? Oh, this is great. I'm going to be a new grandma. First time parents. I remember when my first child was born. Before my wife gave birth, parenthood wasn't real. A few hours after my son was born, in the middle of the night, I couldn't sleep. I tried to sleep in the hospital chair, but it wasn't working for me. So I walked into the nursery and found my boy. This is rather old, because now I wasn't separated from my daughter, and she's 33. As crazy as it sounds, and as crazy as it must have looked, I started talking to him. I remember telling him that I had no idea what to do and how to raise a child. The sight of him overwhelmed me. Does your future overwhelm you? The future that you want, does it overwhelm you? Probably yes, right? You don't know what the hell you're doing. And even though I didn't know so much as how to hold him correctly, I promised on that first night that I was going to be a great dad. Without realizing it, I had decided to change my be. By deciding to be a great dad and committing to that new identity, I was already moving my brain in the direction to help me figure out how to do that. I started to see the world with new eyes, and for the first time, fatherhood was in front of me. My schema, that's a word he uses, which I haven't, I mean, I get it conceptually, but I need to look it up, now enabled me to see the stimuli that was always there, information about what great dads do, how they act, how they balance their time with work, and how they treat their children. It's the same way I would later come to see young dads driving minivans once I gave in and started driving one myself. He had a real thing about wanting to drive a really nice car. So that declaration to his newborn, I'm going to be a great dad, that led him to the do, which ultimately created a have. He started doing things that a good father would do. And then he had a relationship with his wife and his son in a different way than if he hadn't gone into this intentionally. Do things, then have things, and that leads you to become do things, then have things, that leads you to be something. This is how we see the world. The elements are correct. They're just out of order. How we should see the world is be, do, have. Oh, he was going over. We tend to do, have, and be, and that's not the right order. If you make the decision to be something, it will open the door to see what that kind of person does, which, if you follow those actions, will lead you to have what that person has. Being a great student leads to doing things that great students do, which leads to better grades. Being a great parent leads to doing the great things parents do, which leads to a better relationship with your kids. First, you have to decide to change your identity, your be. That will shift you to change what you do, and that will change what you have. As Zig Ziglar once said, you've got to be before you can do, and do before you can have. And Zig Ziglar, of course, is like, his wisdom dates decades ago. That's just a tiny little bit on this book. I'm super stoked to actually own it because I want to write all over it and refer to it and actually use some of the principles with my clients. So I hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you are finding yourself and you in a situation where you like need to flip the order and you need to really like grab life by the blankety blank and get going and create change, I'm your gal. If you like my style, and in the bottom of the notes here, I'll put an access link, and maybe you want to actually get going. I'd love to have you consider working with me. So until the next time, I wish you well, and read a good book. Bye-bye.